Hey y'all, Kitty Cat here. This video is about kidney stone prevention with diet. But first there's good news and there's not so good news. The good news is that most types of kidney stones, or at least the size of future stones, can be reduced with diet. The bad news is that diet doesn't help in every situation.
Oh no!
And that's not all. Dietary interventions for kidney stones should be individualized. It really depends on the types of stones that you've had and, more importantly, the results of your 24-hour urine collection. If you aren't familiar with that, basically you collect your urine for 24 hours, send it off to a lab for analysis, and you get to see exactly what might be causing your kidney stones and how to greatly improve your unique situation. Okay, so if everyone watching this video has different dietary needs, how am I supposed to speak to everyone? That's right, Kat. Everybody deserves individualized dietary advice. But there are recommendations that do speak for everyone. Okay, at least most everyone. So let's get to the most common recommendations and start it off with fluid. How many of you saw that one coming? By diluting the contents of your urine, it makes it harder for minerals and other things in your urine to meet each other and to form a stone. As my chemistry teacher would say, dilution is the solution. So how much fluid should you aim for? 3 liters a day. That's between 12 and 13 cups. Okay, you probably guessed that most of that fluid should come from plain water, but other beverages count too, like sparkling or carbonated water, tea, coffee, lemonade, soda or cola, soup, ice, all kinds of stuff.
Nice.
Just be aware that beverages with added sugar are correlated with an increased risk of kidney stone. So maybe just skip the sugar in your tea or coffee. Go for a diet 7-Up or a diet Sprite, something like that. And maybe even consider experimenting with that liquid stevia stuff. You put a couple of drops in a homemade lemonade, and it's pretty good. Whatever you decide to do, get your fluid up. Let's move on to number 2, which is sodium intake.
Yes.
A high sodium diet is linked specifically with increased calcium excretion in the urine.
Oh no!
But even if you don't have a high amount of calcium in your urine, a low sodium diet is so good for other things. Blood pressure control, circulatory system health, kidney health. For kidney stone prevention, 2,300 milligrams of sodium or less per day is recommended. And guess what? That's the same recommendation as the general population. Yeah, I guess apparently we all need to lower our sodium intake. Okay, not that one guy. The best way to lower your sodium intake is to go to the grocery store, get some whole foods, take them home and cook them up. Home cooking. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you wanted to make a big pot of soup. So you go to the grocery store and you buy some uncooked rice, some fresh raw chicken breast, maybe some carrots and some celery. These are all whole foods. They have a tiny bit of natural sodium in them, but not much. And when you cook a dish with just whole foods, that's a perfect opportunity to add a little pinch of salt. Just a little bit in the big old pot. Not though if you're gonna add chicken bouillon into it, maybe some canned tomatoes or some canned cream of whatever soup. That's gonna have plenty of sodium in it. You don't need to add more.
Nope.
Cooking food at home is so effective, y'all. Even if you can only do it a couple of times a week, it's gonna make a big difference in your health. I suggest that when you do cook it, you make a big amount so that you can have leftovers of it and maybe even freeze some and eat it a couple of weeks down the road. It's a good idea. But yeah, we all live in the real world and we will need to rely on processed and convenience foods. And I'm right there with you. But when we're shopping for those things, we need to compare food labels. You're aiming for less than 600 milligrams of sodium at a meal and less than 200 milligrams of sodium at a snack.
Nice.
So let's take a look at this example over here. It's a frozen TV dinner. The serving size is 1 container. That's nice. And the sodium content is just under 600 milligrams. So this frozen TV dinner would be a good choice. And in fact, if you don't have a few backup meals like this frozen dinner on hand, go get some. The last thing you want is to be stuck into the situation where you have to go to fast food or restaurant food because you don't have anything to cook at home, or maybe you don't have any time to cook it. Because when it comes to restaurant foods, finding low sodium choices is mission impossible. Okay, but enough about sodium. Let's talk about the next recommendation, and that is to reduce the portion size of animal meats and increase your intake of fruits and vegetables.
What?
There are so many benefits to eating this way. It can increase your urine pH.
Wow.
It can increase the amount of citrate in your urine, and it decreases your body's endogenous production of oxalate. Yeah, we get oxalate from foods, but our body makes it too. So all of those things will help lower kidney stone risk. But even if those things are not a concern for you, they still have so many health benefits. Yeah, there's that one exception out there. Sorry about that. So what can you do? Aim for between 2 to 4 servings of fruit every day. A serving of fruit could be a half a cup of like chopped, cut up fruit, or it could be one small piece of whole fruit, like a small banana, or half of a big banana, or it could be 4 ounces of juice. Just go light on the juice. For vegetables, you're aiming for between 3 and 5 servings. A serving size could be a half a cup of cooked vegetables. It could be a whole cup of raw vegetables. Or if you're going to do something like a lettuce salad, 2 cups. For animal meats, I'm talking about eggs, fish, chicken, turkey, pork, beef, you name it, that kind of thing. What you're trying to do is limit your serving size to between 3 and 4 ounces of cooked meat at a meal. And just to give you a little reference, 3 ounces of cooked meat is very similar in size to a deck of playing cards.
Ooh.
And try to aim for 1 meatless meal a day. Think at that meal you could have a dairy protein, or you could do a little bit of beans, or you can have some lentils, something like that. And for our final recommendation, let's talk about dairy. The USDA has a long time recommended Americans get between 2 and 3 servings of dairy daily. But wow, y'all, Americans revolted. It's a long story. I'm not going to get into it here, but just know that having a good source of dairy with your meal will help reduce your body's absorption of oxalate. And even if oxalate is not a problem for you, dairy has potassium in it and magnesium in it. Those are also important for urinary health. And dairy intake has been linked with improved insulin sensitivity. And I'm not even talking about the low-fat stuff. This stuff is very interesting. I am definitely going to do a video on it one day. But back on track anyway. 1 serving of dairy could be 1 cup of milk, 3/4 a cup of yogurt, a half a cup of cottage cheese, try to get the low sodium kind, and 1/4 a cup of something like fresh mozzarella. That is a low sodium cheese. And if you have trouble digesting milk, try that new G2 milk. Or like me, get the lactose-free stuff. They even have lactose-free yogurt. But if dairy is just not a possibility for you, don't sweat it. Talk to your dietitian or your doctor about it. See if they have some workarounds for you. And that's all. Increasing your fluid intake, limiting your sodium intake, reducing the serving sizes of meat, increasing your use of fruits and vegetables, and bringing back that dairy if you're able. Those are the recommendations for almost everyone who wants to prevent kidney stones. But if you want to learn more, say you want to learn about urine pH or citrate, or you want to get the lowdown on oxalate or thiazide diuretics, stay tuned because I intend to make a video on each of those topics because I'm a dietitian on a mission.